Hey everybody, this is Chris, the Disney Baker. Welcome to a Sunday night edition of Bake Talk with the Baker. How we hope everybody's having a good time. I actually got a nice little lens cleaner here. Uh, these little lens wipes are fantastic for people who wear glasses. So the first thing I do with my lens wipe is I clean the lens on my laptop. That's if I'm using my laptop or if I'm using my phone. But for today, I'm using my laptop. So happy Sunday, everyone. Hello, Carly and Kiko. What's up, Sue? Sue Cargo? What's going on? All right, so we're going to talk a lot about baking and probably a little bit about Disney, but Disney is definitely part of what I do. And if you can tell, this spells LOL, cupcake, L, rolling pin. This is called a piping tube. That's a cupcake, spatula, whisk, another rolling pin, knife, fork, and spoon. I love baking. So, hello, Jeannie. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Birdwell. Good to see you. Hi, Ronald. What's going on, Ron? Good to see you. Chris Dye, Katie Y. Hello. So we're going to talk baking, and I have a baking channel. Oh, I got lights blinking on all around me. Hold on a second. I got to find my remote. I have some lights. I'm rolling over to this side. And because if I let those lights go bonkers on me, they'll just go bonkers the whole time. I think my phone has something to do with my remote here. I got a remote for my LED lights, and I think it's going crazy. But let's go back to basics. So yeah, I started my channel. I knew I was gonna, make a move to Florida and possibly get a job at Disney, which I do. I make magic at Disney, and I wanted to. My main goal was to make it Disney, and I'm currently applied for 4 different pastry positions. So cross your fingers there. I've been with the Disney company for 2 years, and it's time to make a move. I love making magic where I am, but you know what? I always say that if you cut this vein, sugar comes out. If you cut this vein, flour comes out. So we're going to talk about baking. We're going to talk about why I started baking, how I started baking, questions. Hey, Zippity Doo, Doug, what's going on? Welcome. Please, is okay, great. Thanks, Cargo. Appreciate that. Yep. I did get the tracking number. Yep. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do here, and I'm wearing bifocals, and my camera's not high. My camera's here, and then when I read chat, I look down. But I just want to look at you guys too. So I might put my chat over to the side, but we'll see how that goes. So I started working my life, and we'll just make this a 5-minute short. Alexa, set a 5-minute timer. Hopefully, I didn't set you all's timers. Anyway, so hey, Jeff, welcome. So my early on, I'm the youngest of 5 kids, in a nutshell, and both my parents worked. My dad worked 2 jobs, and my mom worked a job, and we lived in a little town called Glen Burnie, Maryland, and we're raised right outside of Brooklyn Park, which was a suburb of Baltimore. Go Orioles, go Ravens. So my sister's got a job working at they're working at Dairy Queen. And then I was like, well, they have money, and here I am. I'm, 12 years old, 13 years old. Just got my own hand-me-down bicycle, and, Dairy Queen's a 15-minute bike ride from me. So I asked my dad, I said, do you think I can get a job there? And that next Sunday, he took me up, talked to the owner. The owner hired me. I was working 2 days a week. Yep, Saturdays and Sundays, cleaning trash cans and cleaning white lines in the parking lot, sweeping the parking lot. And then I learned how to work freeze machines, which make the ice cream. I learned how to take them apart, clean them, sanitize, and put them back together. Then I learned how to work a grill area. I learned how to clean a fryer, learned how to clean a cooktop. So early on, I was working, left that job, got a job at a car wash when I got my work permit. Um, because I'd applied for McDonald's. We were just waiting for that. So I worked for the car wash for a summer and then worked at McDonald's and learned about quality, cleanliness, and service. Learned about teamwork in food prep areas and cleaning and ordering. And then from there, went to a Mr. Donut. My senior year, I left McDonald's. When I left McDonald's, I was a swing manager trainee. And then I went to a Mr. Donut. Uh, I didn't want to smell like French fries anymore. So I went home, told my dad, and he told me what I had to do. You put in notice, and I did that. And then I went and applied. And my dad always went to Mr. Donut in the morning, and they said they were looking for a part-time person. So my dad left me a note and said, "Go over here, talk to this person." I went in there, was filling out the application. She took me to the back. I helped her put a bowl of donut dough up on a table. She said, "You start tomorrow." And that's how I got into baking. It's just like that. I didn't start out being a baker. I didn't start out being a donut fryer. I started out being a cleanup guy, learning how everything got cleaned up, learning how to clean the fryers, learning how to clean the jelly pumps, learning how to fill the donuts, learning how to clean the grease traps, sweep and mop the proof boxes, everything. Dust the tables. I did everything. And then one day somebody didn't show up. And she said, "You want to come over and help us?" And I started picking up the donut holes, and that was a fun job. And they don't always throw the donut holes back into the new batch of dough. They actually put them on a screen, separate them, dust them a little bit, and they fry them up to donut holes and munchkins. So then I fell in love with that. And then my senior year when I graduated, that was my senior year when I graduated, I wanted a full-time job that was going to make me more money. So I got a job at NSA. My mom found it for me. She worked at Fort Meade for the government, excuse me. And I applied at a company named Saga, and Saga worked inside of NSA. And we fed all the NSA employees in the Ops 1 building in Fort Meade, which was a lot of people. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and midnight snacks. We had a mid crew. I learned how to make biscuits, icings. I learned how to make pan grease. I learned how to decorate cakes, learned how to mix cake, learned how to make icing, learned how to make donut fillings, learned how to make pie fillings from fresh frozen fruit, using boiled gels and things. And it was just fantastic. Fell in love with it. But going back, if you think about it, when, we would go to my grandmother's house, Grammy was always making pies. Grandma always had a pie when we went up. Or grandpa had taffy, and it had his peanut brittle, and we were always making something. They grew like their own walnuts and their own black walnuts and English walnuts, and he had a small farm, so they had their own corn and green beans and lima beans and kale and cabbage and everything. Gosh, my gosh, they had everything. And then we learned how to make. We just had it for dinner tonight. Sauerkraut. I have his sauerkraut slicer out in the garage. We used to just shred the cabbage. And then I just hung out. I was the youngest, so I couldn't go anywhere. Everybody else was going places, so I hung out in the kitchen with my grandmother, hung out in the kitchen with my mom, and fell in love with baking when I started baking. Thank you. Alexa, stop. So that was it. That dissertation, that took 5 minutes. Fantastic. Bringing you up to speed. 40 years ago, that's when I was working for Saga Foods. And I just started learning, and I would go from bakery to bakery and learn everything I could. My dad said, learn everything you can and move on. Hey, Nathan, welcome. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to read questions too. When I see it jumping, I'm moving. So this is not to bore you. Hey, Nick, Movie Mania Nick, what's going on? Thanks for the comments, Nick. Appreciate that. So then, hanging out with my mom and watching her cook and watching her bake and watching my grandmother's bake. And then I just started really liking it. And then I got the job, like I said. I did learn one thing early on. There's one thing you definitely have to have if you're going to be a professional baker. And I'm about to show that to you right now. And those are professional baker glasses. And you turn into super baker. Da, da, da. All right. No, that's a joke. Anyway, I had those sitting out. I just wanted to do something funny. So, and that's me. And again, it brings us back to the basics. It's how do you know it? at 12 years old, at 15 years old, at 17 years old? How do you know what you want to do in life? You don't. You have an idea of what you think you want to do or what you think. But mine it just came, man, right? That Mr. Donut, I'm like, you're going to pay me this kind of money to make donuts? Okay. Okay. And then when I went to work for Saga Food, I was like, what? And then I started, I continued to go. And again, I would go from bakery to bakery to bakery. My resume is so many pages thick. And as I got older, I'm like, well, is this a bad thing? Having this many jobs. And it's not, as long as you have the information to put in for that job, that this is what you've learned. You learned all to your ability. You accomplished every position in that bakery to what you thought, and then you wanted to move on to learn more. And that was like my last sentence in every resume. I just continued to learn until I couldn't learn anymore, and then I moved on. And then I did it for 40 years, 40. There's a couple things that bring me back. My grandmother has this pastry stamp. It's a little wooden handle, and it has this like a peace sign on it, and it has this round edge on it, and it has an imprint similar to that, and it's for making little pastries, little Italian pastries my grandmother used to make, and she used to make filled dough and fried up. This is my Pampered Chef one. I bought this one. This is spring loaded. This is fantastic. If anybody has one of these, you just put it down, put it over top of your dough, and push down on it, and it cuts it. This cuts it, and then this crimps the edge. So then when you turn it over, you just seal it with your fingers, and it's like a half shell. But that's what that's for. But I couldn't find my grandmother's that I had the wooden handle with it, but I wanted to show you. And then something else that I got from my grandmother. This is an old ice cream scoop. It's really old. I don't know if this was the company Disher or not. I'm not sure, but there's a company out there called Disher now, Disher. But this was her ice cream scoop, and I have that. And one of her old rolling pins. I have this. And then I have one of her old rolling pins that this doesn't turn. Old rolling pins, you had to let it roll over your hand. And that, when you did that, believe it or not, you could start feeling how thick the dough is as you're rolling, the more you use it. This one is a ball bearing one. This was one of her newer ones. I think I may have even bought this for her, but it is a small one. It's only 12 inches, not 18. Actually, probably from end to end, it might be 18, but this is only 12. And I like using this. And then she had her little cutters. I love these cutters. It's I can't even read the company's name on it, but these are little tiny cutters, and you can even buy these now. These are fluted little cutters, and when you're using like puff pastry or you're making some small cookies, and the cool thing about this is that when you do it like that, these are all the cutters. See, they're all the different sizes, and then it compresses, and then you can just take them out one by one, and they have all different sizes for whatever you're making. If you wanted to make some nice Italian cookies, definitely could use this, and then it goes in this container. I don't know how I did that. I hit my mouse. Sorry, guys. But I'm back. I love these. I like making cookies out of these. When I do puff pastry, I like to use a docking tool. This looks like something you'll probably see in a masseuse shop, but it's not. It's not something Edward Scissorhands or anything like this. But this is a docking tool, and what it's made for is when you're rolling out puff pastry, you run this across it, push it down, it puts little tiny holes in your puff pastry, so your puff pastry doesn't get all blown up and go all crazy on you. Anyway, that was like the initiation part. That's how I got started. I've worked all up and down the East Coast. I've been to California for bread seminars. I've worked in big manufacturing companies that make all the products for 7-Eleven, 365 days a year, all the products for 7-Eleven. Anything you see fresh in that case, I work for that company. I worked for companies that sold bakery products for those companies. And hey, what's going on, Chris? Good to see you. Hey, Christine, hello, welcome. Bespoke, well, what's going on? Welcome. So when you work for a manufacturer of goods, you really get to know the bakeries within the Mideast. I mean the Mid-Atlantic. I knew bakeries from Maine to Florida. I went to so many of them on the road. Did a lot of on the road stuff. I love baking, and once people see and watch how you bake, and when you enjoy it and it comes natural, you just keep going. I do have one of these. I don't know if anybody has one of these. It says new. There's nothing new about this cookbook. This was my mother's. And this has some amazing recipes in it that came in it. But then there's some, this is my favorite. Look at that. Those are homemade, raisin-filled, pecan-topped sticky buns. Yes. These are some of the things. There's some recipes in there I used to make with my grandmother that I'm definitely going to be sharing and making on my channel. Isn't that cool, Chris? Yeah. Yeah, Nick, that's cool. Yeah. And I think, even if maybe a family member never had one of those, we were probably in like a thrift shop one day, or maybe saw one at a friend's house or something like that. If you see one in a thrift shop and it's like $2, buy it, because those recipes are, I'm sure you could probably find them on the internet now, but having a book like that, that's off the chart. Oh, that's fantastic, Sue. See, I like how she said that. Here, let me highlight that. I have my granny's cookbook from 1956. See, that's what we used to call my grandmother. We used to call her Granny. So that was pretty good. I like that. So I have my rolling table here next to me. My sister had her mother-in-law passed a couple years ago, and gave this to my sister, and my sister gave it to me. So this is going to have a lot of amazing recipes in it. And again, if you ever have a recipe book that someone you borrowed from, or they let you use it, you always have these in there, the little cutout recipes. This is a cutout recipe for Maryland crab soup. Woo! Wouldn't that be something to make when I go to Pete's? No, I'm going to be baking at Pete's. Surprise carrot cake. And these look like these were cut out from a box that's called, it's cake flour. Cake flour is different from bread flour. And bread flour is normally in the industry called patent flour. But then they have a pastry flour. And then they also have a white cake flour. And this is from Swan, is a company that makes white cake flour. This looks like a recipe off of that box. Surprise carrot cake. She's got, in case she needed one from her friend, she cut out two. Who likes stuffed peppers? Stuffed peppers? And I just thought I'd read these. Moist is best. Pineapple coconut loaf. And then you have those recipes that your grandma's neighbor, your aunt's neighbor, wrote them down on a loose leaf piece of paper, and the woman must have had amazing penmanship, because the penmanship is so beautiful you can't read it. It just looks so great. And then you find those recipes in there too. Grandma Tilly's pumpkin bread. Who likes? Oh, somebody sending me. Excuse me. I actually turned on my notifications because I knew somebody was going to be reaching out to me tonight. So Grandma Tilly. Oh, your Grandma Tilly. Grandma Tilly's pumpkin bread. Now, pumpkin bread in chat with nuts. Hey, Stevie. No nuts. Thumbs up. or thumb.
Okay, I found this on the web for a no nuts thumbs up. Check it out.
That's funny. That's funny. No, I won't talk about that. I'll eat pumpkin bread either way. But I will tell you, if you're going to make scratch pumpkin bread at home, whatever your recipe says for your nuts, whether they're walnuts or pecans or whatever, you can replace one shelled nut for another shelled nut if you're making any type of low cake. So don't worry about that. If it says a half a cup of walnuts, don't put in walnut halves. Make sure you break them up into pieces. You don't have to chop them. You can. Chopping your nuts for a loaf cake makes it a lot easier to cut later on down the road. That's a good tidbit of information. Take about 6 ounces of hot water. If there's water in your recipe, take out maybe 4 or 6 ounces and take hot water and pour it over top of your whatever shelled nut you're going to use for your recipe. Same with raisins. Now this you don't have to do with raisins. If your recipe calls for 8 ounces of raisins, I would take about 6 to 8 ounces of really, really hot water and just put your raisins in it. And then let your raisins soak while you're doing all your other mixing. And then right before you need to put your raisins in, which is usually last, just pour them in a strainer. Okay. Let the excess water, shake them off in your colander, your strainer, and then fold them in right at the end. And what that does is that moisture, you can even soak them overnight. They'll blow up like little ticks on a dog, but actually they won't blow up that much, but because once that baking process starts, the moisture from that raisin will slowly start to come out, and it keeps whatever you made nice and moist. So that's that recipe. Banana pudding, 15-minute chicken and rice, vanilla butter, and pound cake. Now that's a pretty cool recipe. And then, here's one of them handwritten ones. What'd I tell you? Look, can you read that? I can't read that. Jerry's carrots. 2 pounds of carrots. Oh, these are for glazed carrots for a dinner. Oh my gosh, that sounds good. And then you have this one. Storage tips from the Sun-Made Raisin Company. Oh, how about that? But anyway, and if you just came in, where we found these was in a recipe book that my sister gave me that her mother-in-law gave her. So there you go. If you have anything to add in, feel free to add in, ask questions. And again, homemade breads. That's what they call Easter bread. It is a egg challah bread that has a sweet bread recipe to it. And then when it's done and cool, you glaze it with like a honey dip glaze for like honey dips, donuts. And then there's donuts here, and there's some breadsticks there. This is homemade bread, and it says by the food editor of Farm Journal. I have no idea how old this is. Probably look in the front. This book, when it was sold, was $4.50. And I know there's a copyright date. I know where to find copyright dates. So how was everybody's Sunday? All right, we're going. And it tells you how to make your own pie fillings here with fresh fruit. That's interesting. All right, this journal, Liberty of Congress, Council Journal. This is 1969. 1969. All right, so there's that one. My grandfather used to make candies and sugar candies. This is old. This was $1.75 when he bought it. And it takes you through all the processes. What is a candy thermometer? Raise your hand if you know. Do you know what a candy thermometer is? I have one. Candy thermometers are much different than an oral thermometer or even a digital thermometer. Some digital thermometers, you have to look at them when you buy them, okay? Because some of them only go up to 250 degrees. Metal teaspoons, oil flavorings, toothpicks. I'll tell you what type of toothpicks to use. This is an old book. And it takes you through all the process of how to make fudge and how to make candy. And these books, again, are all hand-me-down books. This book is called, and it's literally falling apart. I think this is my great aunt's. It says, Anyone Can Bake. And it's literally falling apart. Oh. This is my handwriting. I used to watch old cooking shows. Nick says he used to watch the old cooking shows when they're. And thanks, Nick. I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, Stevie, fudge. Use them for making caramel. You do, see? Katie makes caramel. So, Katie, we should make some peanut brittle together. This is for nut roll. Has anybody ever had nut roll? It's a Polish. They make poppy seed roll. They make nut roll. They make apricot roll. This was my grandmother's recipe, and that's for the dough. And then the flip side is for the filling. Yeah, and this is for the nut. This is not for the poppy seed because I never did like the poppy seed. But again, another recipe book with a whole bunch of other recipes. Grandma's cheesecake, babka. Babka's delicious. Traditions on how to dip strawberries in chocolate, scratch lemon meringue. I haven't even hit the first page of this book. I don't even think that was the first page. Request for Polish. Oh, what does that say, Graham? Kalushki cookies. Bow ties. Some people call them bow ties. Kalushki. I'm Czechoslovakian. So we call them kalushki. Polish kalushki. Polish bow ties. That's what they're called. And here's the recipe. So we're going to be doing a bunch of cool stuff like that. And I tell you what. Oh, look. Does anybody know what this is? First person to put it in the chat. Monarch Miracles, welcome. Hey, Julie, welcome. Oh, you're very welcome, Susan. Yay. I'm glad you got it. Well, say what it is. Yes, Monarch Miracles said it. Yes. Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Monarch Miracles. Monarch Miracles, send me an IG. Same thing, Disney Baker. Send me an IG. Notice, say hello, and send me your address because I want to send you a little gift for knowing what that was. So that's pretty cool. Oh, what's this one? Oh my gosh. What's that one? I guess that's another one. But what does that say under it? Oh my gosh, hold on. I got a mega magnifying glass here. See, this is cool. It says Town and Country, cash value 1/10 of a million. Number 482. I guess that was for some of the same things similar. So that's pretty cool. But again, it was just sitting in this book. Well, I'm trying to page through here and find out what year this is called. Anyone Can Bake, Royal Baking Powder Company, 100 East 42nd Street, New York, United States. 1929. This is the inside page. I have to be careful because everything's going to fall out of here. I want to be very careful. That's the inside page. And look down at the bottom. Look at the date. 1929. That's how old this is. I remember my mom handing those to me, and I would, oh my gosh, yes. But you'd lick them, but the glue tastes terrible. So my mom would take an old sponge and cut little squares, and she put it in a little like petri, like a little saucer dish with a little bit of water just to keep the sponge moist. And we used to just drag them over the sponge and then put them in the books. Yeah, that was our job. So they are not food stamps. They are reward stamps you fill the book up with, and then you use the book to go buy things. Exactly. Yep, that's what that was. But I think that Town and Country one was something different, that little tiny one. But anyway, again, oh my gosh, look what they're making. You know what that is? Those are sticky buns. Those are sticky buns. And look at, they show you picture by picture on how to make them. Look how they're putting them in there. We're going to make some of that. But look what they're using. They're using a frying pan. I like to use an 8-inch or a 9-inch high side cake pan. But again, oh my gosh, look at this one. Oh. Wow. Okay. Okay. Sentimental here, and I'll share it because it came out of the book. Look. Happy Thanksgiving. And it says, Happy Thanksgiving, mother and brother. My uncle lived with my grandmother in Shamokin, Pennsylvania. And this was from a florist in Pennsylvania that my mom and dad, Mary and Joe at the bottom, my mom and dad sent my grandmother and my uncle Thanksgiving flowers. And my grandmother put this in this book. And it even says the name of the florist on the back. That's pretty cool. Sorry. You get sentimental stuff like that, It makes you just... Potato pancakes. Look at that. And she put it underneath where it says waffles and pancakes. That recipe. Oh my gosh. My grandmother saved all these. She saved all the cards. This says Christmas 1991. And my mom and dad sent them Christmas flowers. She would put all the little cards off the flowers in her recipe book. Wow, someone sent this to my grandmother. This wasn't my grandmother. This was my great aunt Irene. My great aunt Irene turned 90. Sorry, I'm boring you with all this, but happy 90th birthday, Ruthie Capes. Yep, that was my great aunt's 90th birthday, and my grandmother saved those cards. Those are pretty cool. Anyway, moving right along. So yeah, these are the old books. If you're hand-me-down books, if nothing else, if you're not going to make what's in them, just sit down and look through them one day, and then you'll get all teary-eyed like me. Now, jumping forward into the 80s, and by no means is this show sponsored by Monster, but I drink a lot of it. I also drink water. So then I started doing serious baking. I was a bakery technician. I would work for manufacturing companies that manufactured products, sugars, shortenings, flour, bulk sizes, 50 pounds, things that were sent into restaurants, things that were sent into in-store bakeries, cake mixes, icing mixes, fudge mixes. So I started picking up some amazing things along that journey. This is a fantastic book. The Art and Science of Baking. I would suggest if you really want to get into it and understand where shortening comes from the kernels of the wheat and how they process shortenings and oils. This can explain that to you. This was given to me in 1999 when I went to California. Excuse me for a second. Excellent. Monarch Miracles got it. Thank you. So I did a bread seminar in California out in the way it was called Westco. The company was called Westco. The company I was working for was called Bakemark. We were doing a bunch of European style breads. They sent us on a 2-week seminar to California. Yes, that sounds great that we went to California, and it was fantastic. But we worked more than we played. And I have a certificate, on a frame somewhere that said I'm a certified baker. And the gentleman that taught us, it was a gentleman from Germany and a gentleman from France. And Volier was the gentleman, I think he was from France. And it says, Chris, it's been a pleasure to know you and work with you at the Bakemark seminar in Los Angeles. Best wishes in your future. December 14th, 1999. And it tells you all about wheat and all about flour and what is the ash content in flour? What does it mean? The flour types. We could go on forever. It's in here. It's fantastic. Let's just go through. Hey, Dawn, hello. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So let's just go over a couple of the flours. Okay. So you have patent flour, which is your basic tabletop flour. Most people call it bread flour because it's used mostly for making breads. But if you want to make a rye bread, or you want to make a pumpernickel bread, or you want to make a sourdough bread, you need to use a different type of flour. Okay, it's called high gluten flour. Gluten is just it's glue. It's kind of like chewy. That's where the gluten comes from. There's patent flour, Baker's First, Baker's Clear, Second Clears. Then there's soft wheat flours. There's cake flour. The soft wheat flours are made for pastries and cakes. You have cake flour, pastry flour, cookie flour. Then you have wheat flour. Then you have rye flours, light rye, dark rye, medium rye, and rye meals. Okay, that's when you get into your more gritty like breads, more European breads with really thick crusts on them, stuff like that. And how to make them? Know the differences in when you're making your breads and how strong of a wheat or a flour you want for your breads. Compression test. If your flour is too moist, wherever you're keeping your flour, you can just grab your flour and squeeze it. If your flour stays in that shape after you squeeze it, your flour is being kept too moist. You want to grab your flour, squeeze it, let go of it, and you want it just to go back to its normal form. That's when you're storing your flour at optimum temperatures. But again, this talks about frying and greases and stuff like that. But this is a great book. Bunch of insight. More than likely nowadays, guys, you could probably, this is 1999. You could probably everything's on the internet. And one of the next ones I picked up, I had the opportunity to take a professional baker's class. And professional baker's classes, there are only so many certified bakers in the United States, believe it or not. And I still think the number's under 300 certified bakers. It's a 2-day test. And you just get recipes and you do what the recipes say. And then they judge you on how you did it and what your turnout was, and they don't help you at all. And if you can get a company to sponsor you to do that, they're going to give you one of these bad boys. Okay, and this is a great book. This is fantastic. And I still don't know if this book now is sold outright. This book you could only get if you were taking that test. And it was more of a guideline, and this was the only book that you could bring in with you. That was it. And that was if you had questions about something. And there were, they show you how to make pinwheels. It shows you how to make braided breads, how to make pretzels, how to fold your dough to cut it to make pretzels. It says common problems with cake production. Boom, paragraph. But anyway, they would tell you what to make. This was the only book that you could have, and I kept it. And I did not finish the course. So we'll just say that me and the company that had me going there, we went in a different direction. And then I have this book. This was called the Bungie Bible. This is from a company called Bungie Foods that I used to work for. And now this recipe from this rich cream cake is now owned by Dawn Foods. But the three gentlemen that actually got together and made this book for rich cream cake, which is an amazing cream cake. If you've ever had a super amazing moist muffin, it's made with this cream cake mix. Yep. I have 2 copies of this. This was my briefcase copy. That's why it's all worn. I can make out of one. Just let me see if all of them are in here. They are out of one bag of mix, one bag of cream cake mix. Okay, you can buy this mix at Restaurant Depot. It's made by Dawn Foods. It's called Rich's Cream Cake Mix. Okay, it's eggs, oil, and water, and everything else is in the mix. Okay, they have a water one, just water, but I don't like it because it has powdered eggs in it and dehydrated oils. And dehydrated oils are not something you want to be baking with if you can get away with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. This book has 31 recipes in it that you can make from one mix. One mix. And I used to go up and down the East Coast with this Bungie Bible with a 50-pound bag of this cream cake on my shoulder. And I would go into bakeries in the Northeast. You know when you go into bakeries in the Northeast? Not during the summertime. You go to bakeries in the Northeast in the wintertime, in the fall time, because that's their downtime. They call on the phone. They're going, hey, we're having problems with the cream cake. They would send me or one of the other technicians. We'd take a copy of this book with us, 50-pound bag cream cake, go in the door, boom, make their recipes. Then we show them 2 or 3 of these recipes with the free bag of cream cake, make little 10-pound mixes, show them how to make it, show the bakers how to make it, then go back home the next day and start over. But I love this. And I think I might, this does not have schoolboy bread in it, but it has a whole bunch of other loaf cakes, pineapple upside down cakes, a mocha cake, and the icing recipes are in here too. A cherry loaf cake. There's your down at the bottom. We have, this is a cherry swirl up top. And then they have down at the bottom, looks like a cherry loaf with it's all mixed in. And I know I'm making everybody hungry. And here's the cool thing. I know how to make all this stuff. And that's, and oh, you want to, come on, tell me you haven't seen that cake before. Entenmann's, this mix. Entenmann's pound cake, this mix. I know. Entenmann's was out on Long Island before the hurricane hit. It's this mix, guys. I'm telling you. And you, oh, turtle cake, pecan turtle cake. Look at that. And that's with the chocolate cream cake, not just with the vanilla. This is with the chocolate cream cake. So you see how excited and how happy I get when I talk about baking, because that's what I do. That's who my core. baking all these years. So that's pretty much, what I wanted to show you. I'm going to start baking. We've been doing a lot with our church lately. Excuse me. So I was going to do my bakes on Sunday mornings, but now I think I'm going to have to flip that to possibly Saturday mornings. I wanted to do them on Sunday mornings, only because we have a farmer's market here on Mondays, here where I live. And what I don't give to like the fire department, I could just take to the farmer's market and sell. And I made it. Oh, like this Maryland crab soup recipe. Got to put that away. But I think what I'll do is when I start, I'm going to start on Saturdays, and I just don't. I'll put out, I'll definitely put out a couple questionnaires on out on YouTube and out on Instagram. What would you like to see me bake first? What's best for you? I don't know what's best for a lot of people, but I think if I just go out on a Saturday, I would definitely do it maybe at, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. Hopefully people are done their grocery shop by then, or, on a break maybe from their job, or, they have that day off. But that's what I'd like to do it. And just start baking stuff and teaching and showing people what I love to do best. If you haven't seen me bake anything, jump back into some of my videos. Jump back into this time last year when I was at Pete McDivitt's house and we baked at his house. I had a couple cameras going on there. Go on, look up when I made turnovers, when I made apple strudel from here. Check those videos out. I'm doing really well with my shorts. I'm putting shorts out on the channel. They're doing well. A lot of new people are coming in saying hello, joining the channel. I think that's fantastic. Thank you. And I'm still like 1,300 hours I need for to become monetized. So if you have some time and you want to watch some of my videos, please do so. I could really use. I'll just put it out there. I could really use you to watch some of those and to get my watch time up. I'm going to be going once a week now. On Sundays at 8 o'clock. This is going to be my time slot. We're going to talk baking. We're going to talk Disney. So that's what we're going to do. I appreciate you for being here. I just love talking baking. This is the current. This is just the baker's pin room, the baker's lair, I call it. I love collecting pins. I like selling pins. I've been selling pins on my Whatnot. I've been selling some of my old Disney memorabilia. I've got a lot more things to put out there. My eBay channel, my eBay spot, everything. It just comes a time where, and I know I'm talking to a bunch of collectors out there. It comes a time where you got to pump the brakes, man. Pump the brakes and slow down, and then start, just letting other people enjoy what you collected throughout the years, and that's what I'm doing. My goal is to buy a new golf cart before Christmas. So that's what I'm trying to sell a lot of my stuff to put money aside for a new golf cart. So that's my goal. I'm setting a goal and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, and talking about, when we were talking about Disney, the Disney Food and Wine is about to just erupt. And I'll tell you what, if you've never been to the food and wine festivals at Disney, I don't drink. I'm 9 years sober, but the food is amazing. I'm going to do my research, and I'm going to research a bunch about the desserts that they're going to put out there, and we're going to review those desserts next Sunday. Okay, and then if I get my dates right here. Let's see. Where are we at? The 23rd. And we have the dates here are, let me find out. Let's see. I thought I had it. I know it says 2023. It's either this week. It might even start this week. Here, let me back this one up here. But thank you all again for being here. I appreciate you hanging out. And after I'm done, Pete's going to go live at 10 o'clock on the Pete McDevitt Show. So if you don't have anything to do, you want to hang out, jump over there. He's going to have a couple people on with him and doing a chat session. Food and Wine Festival. There we go. All right. It kicks off July 27th. July 27th. So we still have, today is the 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It kicks off Friday. Kicks off Friday. So next Sunday, we'll have a lot to talk about. I plan on, I'll be at the parks on the 30th and the 31st. The 30th, we're going to the parks with my son and his friend and my wife. And then the 31st, we're going to go to Epcot and see Forgotten Country, which is going to be playing there, which will be fantastic. So, hey, Paul Engel, what's going on? Thanks for being here. And so, yeah, just, Disney snacks, Disney stuff, there isn't a whole lot. I mean, being a baker, everybody goes, well, if you ever met my Uncle Eddie, my Uncle Eddie was a big boy, and he worked in bakeries up in Baltimore, Maryland, and he had his own bakery. And I remember we used to go over to his house after church in Pasadena and see my aunt. And then Uncle Eddie would come home, and he'd come home probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock when it was all making all deliveries. He was the owner, and he had a delivery truck. And he used to bring back what they called the stales, if some of the areas didn't have, or leftovers. And he used to let us go out and raid his truck. And gosh, he had some good stuff. But he was big. He was a big baker. And most of the time, that was a baker's calling card. You knew the stuff was good if the baker was good. Big, oh, how you doing? No, not the case for me. Maybe my metabolism was a little too fast or something. I drank too much soda. I used to drink Coke like it was water. But when I stopped smoking, I think I stopped smoking when I started dating my wife, and I quit smoking cold turkey. And if you know anything about me or learn anything about me, that's one of the things. If I want to do something like that, I do it like that. Smoking was definitely one of them. She didn't like cigarette smoke. And so I quit smoking, and then my taste buds came back. You see all these food shows and stuff like that. You watch, Hell's Kitchen. I'll tell you something. You look when those people are relaxing. What's the first thing they're doing? Smoking. But the people that have the best palates out there, they don't smoke, because nicotine wipes your palate out. You can't taste them. And then I tell you, when I used to taste stuff, I would taste it. And 9 times out of 10, I just spit it out. I taste it, get a good taste of it, and just spit it out. I just didn't want it. But when you're doing something like that, yeah, you can't eat everything you see. You want to eat everything. Mine was cherry pie dough turnovers. And we're going to make pie dough turnovers. And we're going to make a couple of different fruits of pie dough turnovers. Pie dough turnovers are so easy to make, so much fun to make. And you keep the pie dough in your refrigerator for weeks. Wait for your grandkids to come over, your nephews or nieces or your mom or somebody come over and say, hey, let's make some, make the pie dough up ahead of time. I'll show you how to make it. Put it in the refrigerator and just hang on to it and make pie dough turnovers. And the cool thing about pie dough turnovers is the dough, your scrap from your dough, you just, sprinkle a little bit of water over top of it, get it back together just a little bit, and mold it back into your new dough. And you use that, use things up. You never waste anything in the bakery. That was another thing. We never wasted anything. Oh, you're very welcome, Dawn. Glad for you that you quit smoking and drinking. Well, Monarch Miracles does. Yeah, yeah, Vanessa was the reason I quit smoking. And my Savior, Jesus Christ, was why I quit drinking. But that's another amazing story to tell on another amazing day. I definitely want to share that. And I'll talk about that in a short. So, if you don't know anything about StreamYard, when you get in StreamYard and you want to do something, this is how I put my format out on StreamYard. That's what I use. And one day I was talking to a friend of mine. And he's like, you should really tell your story one day. Tell a story about, how you became sober. And one day last week, I was just in that type of mood. So I opened up StreamYard, got it all ready, and I reached over and I thought I hit record. So you can record and record yourself to edit later. And I don't know what I hit, but I didn't hit record, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it until like 42 minutes later, because I literally just started and just went. And then when I went to stop and hit stop record, I went, oh, I didn't start it. And I told my wife that, and I told her, and she says, well, maybe it's just not your time to put it out yet. And I believe that. But anyway, it'll be a great story to tell. And hopefully, there's no doubt, praise the Lord, we can claim a lot of things if we want. But you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes and you hear, you've definitely been blessed. So, and I'll stand on the highest table in the room and scream that from the top of my lungs. I've told my story to so many people, complete strangers sometimes. It doesn't matter, and it's my story to tell, and I'll tell it. And if this is the platform for me to do that, then praise God for it. So anyway, look, we're 56 minutes. We can chat. We can talk. Anybody have any questions about baking? That's because they're stressed. Yeah, right. I agree with you, Nick. They're definitely stressed. Hey, I smoke. Trust me. I smoke 2 packs a day before I quit. But nobody can hear this, right? If I get a good cigar every once in a while, but that's not the same. Cigars are good for you, they say. Cigars and scotch, but I don't drink scotch, so I don't smoke cigars, and that's like a nice cigar. But I want to show you some icons that I have, some things that I keep around the house. So this is a guy. I think I got this from my mom, and when she passed, I took it back. And he's got just little thin legs, but he sits on your windowsill, and he just sits there. And he's got a loaf of bread, and he's got his dough spatula there. So he sits on my counter like that. And then I did bring a couple of these out just to show you guys. For I think it was my 30th birthday, my mom got me this. And it's a Timex clock. It takes a battery. You have to take the clock out and put the battery behind it. But it's a mixer. Is that not cool? And it just sits on your countertop. It's not very big. Here's my hand. It's not very big. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Katie. And I got this. I think Vanessa got me this years ago. It's my little Baker Mickey. And this was the boy that started it all, the Pillsbury Doughboy. And this is nice. This is a nice little ceramic Doughboy. And these are candles. These are cupcake candles. I've never burnt them, as you can see. And if you've ever seen me do anything live in my kitchen, you'll see him. He's on the shelf. And I got a couple other Doughboy. And this is one of my faves. When my son and daughter first came to Disneyland, I think I talk about it's 2002, and we brought them here. I got one of these for my son. Okay, and it's a bobblehead Mickey. Isn't he cool? Okay, and here's the cool part. I got this one at a thrift shop, and look what it says. This one says Disneyland Resort. I don't even think the price is still on the bottom. No, I think I paid $3 for that. Is that cool? And when I brought him home, I think I was still living in Maryland then. I stared at my son and said, look, he goes, hey, that's mine. I'm like, no, this is mine. And he went, and he's like, oh, okay. And I said, this says Disneyland. Yours says Disney World. So, but that's cool. But anywho, Dawn, are you still here? Hitchhiking Bones? Hey, Mike, what's going on? Welcome. Hello, Debbie. Thanks. That's your little stew. Yes, that's correct. I used to bake when I was younger. I actually liked. Oh, heck! What do you mean when you were younger? You mean when you were a teenager? Maybe you're still young, Nick. Yeah. Well, Nick, Nick, that'll be great. So, maybe I can have you in as a guest one time, and we can bake together. Or you could just be, if you don't want to do a physical, you could just be in the wings, like, oh, who was that? Oh, the other day I saw somebody was on. Who was on Monarch Moments? There is a science to baking, no doubt, Dawn. I think Dawn may have stepped out. Jennifer was on Monarch Moments and something like that. You could be like up in the corner and I could be baking and you could be helping narrate and talk about stuff. That would be great. But yeah, it's the reason I wanted to talk to Dawn is I was unpacking some stuff for my whatnot and getting some stuff together for sales, and I found this frame that I made. This is one of my early frames. Don't judge me for the back; it looks kind of crappy. This is one of my early frames, and I put all of my Haunted Mansion pins. Then I put all my Haunted Mansion pins on it. But now I have a whole bunch more Haunted Mansion pins, and they're sitting right there on a different frame. So I'll have to add these to those frames. But does anybody make hand-cut sugar cookies anymore? I love making hand-cut sugar cookies. Do you know when bakeries start to make who buys hand-cut sugar cookies from the bakery? And I'm talking the thin ones. I'm talking the really good thin ones. Who buys those? You know when those bakeries start making those? I kid you not. The last week of September. Scratch bakeries will start making hand-cut sugar cookies the last week in September. So we usually would get I saw you had posted something about somebody posted something about that, about sugars. Yeah. Sugar-free cookies. You need sugar-free, with the cutters. Yes. Yeah. KDY makes them. Well, I'll tell you, sugar-free cookies are tough to do. There's no doubt. I mean, I had recipes. I don't own those recipes. I could probably research them and get those recipes. But it's, we used to make a sugar-free, what was it? A gluten-free? I used to make one customer gluten-free sugar cookies. I didn't think they tasted very good, but she bought them for her grandson. So is that a holiday thing? It sure was. Hand-cut sugar cookies, you start them last week of September. And we used to make our batches of dough would come up and we make them 30-pound batches of dough at a time. And we put 10 pounds of dough on each sheet pan. Put a piece of parchment paper on top. Well, we sprinkle a little bit of flour on. Piece of parchment paper, plastic bag, and put them in the refrigerator. You pull the dough, take your cutter, cut a slab, fold it back up, push it back in the fridge, boom, you go work that. Sugar dough cookie gets warm very quickly. That's why you have to use a cold dough when you run your sugar cookies. If that's a surprise to you, let me tell you right now. If you make a sugar cookie dough, and again, I'm looking for my bifocals. If you make a sugar cookie dough, make a sugar cookie dough up. Okay? When you get it out of your bowl, put a little bit of flour on your bench on your table. Dust your dough after you get it all out of the bowl. Dust it, just roll it into its one big nice pillow. Put it on a cookie pan, push it down, put a little bit of flour on a piece of wax paper over it, and take a how do I say this? Trash bag liners now. If you get the cheap ones, like for your bathroom trash, get ones that are a little bit bigger, but don't get the scented ones. And then put them over your dough and just put that in on the bottom of one of your shelves in your refrigerator. Okay. And let it sit there overnight. pull it out the next day, make sugar cookies. Again, cut pieces off, take it to your table, put your tray back in the refrigerator. Use your scrap for your next piece when you bring it out. Just mold it back in. We'll make some of those too. They're gonna be fun to make. We used to use like 4 or 5 cutters. Christmas tree was green. The bell was red. The bell was red. The stars were gold. So it was a tree, a star, a bell. We had a snowman shaped one. We used to make him blue. And then there was another color. So we had green, red, gold, blue. And there was another shape. I forget what it was. And there was another color. So we used to use 5 different shapes. And we would get the 1 pound box, window box. They're only about that tall, about that big. And we would open them all up. And after we got all the cookies baked, we would just grab like 6 of one cookie. And then just put 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and just keep going. You would put 2 of each cookie in each box, and then you would layer them. And then 2 of each shape cookie. And then you would close it. It closed really nice. You take it over to the over wrapper. We would overwrap that little box, and we would stand them on end in banana boxes and put the lids on a banana box, and we would stack them up on the shelves all around the bakery. And each banana box, I think, held 32 boxes. And each box was about £1.25, £1.25 to £1.50 of cookies. And we used to get $7.99, $8.99 a pound. I think now hand-cut sugar cookies are around like $13.99 a pound. But the cookie gun, yeah, did you have an automatic cookie gun, Nick? Or did you have one where you had to turn it? If you were helping your mom, you probably had the automatic one where you put the dough in the chamber and you screwed the top on, and it would screw it down and squirt them out. That's so cool. Okay, if I make them, if you make them, I'll eat them. Okay, that's funny. All right. It's a holiday thing. So yeah, so this is cool. Thank you guys for being here. You know, I could probably go on forever and ever and ever talking about baking. I'm gonna reach back here. If you don't have one of these, you should get one of these. And I haven't worked. This is literally brand new. This one is brand new. And it's the chef hat. See, I haven't even opened this yet. I haven't even turned it on. Oh, there's a button here. Oh. That's Remy pulling his hair. I just turn it off. Now he's over here. And now he's over there.
Okay, I found this on the web for here. Check it out. Hey, Candy Mom, what's going on? Yes, it is. So he shows on the front, then he shows on the side, then he shows on the front again, then he shows on this side, and then he comes out the top. And then there's a little piece of cheese on the side. That's where the button is. So if I just, and he's got a little spotlight on himself. Isn't that cool? And then he turned him off. But yeah, my first one I got didn't work, so I had to take it back. So I guess, and look, it still has the price tag on it. Okay, how much do you all think this was? So I guess.
I thought it was more than that, actually. And the strap is like way too small. I'd have to adjust the strap, but there you go. Love, Love, love. 35. Candy Mom says 25. How much you think this hat was, Jeff? Monarch, how much you think this hat was? Come on, Nick. Everybody guess. So I'm going to put this little bit of, I don't know what that is. That's air pillow. And look, my hair still looks good. 50. Nick says $39.99. Jeff says Nick played prices right. Debbie says 30. Debbie, we got to get you to the parks more. This may have been 10 years ago, but it's not. And who wants to guess who was right? Because I'll tell you, Nick was right. Nick, you're right on the money. $39.99. And this was the hat that they gave the cast members. They gave all us cast members for the 50th anniversary. You don't have to be crazy to be on this channel. And it says cast member on the back. So you don't have to be crazy, but it helps. Well, look, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thanks for viewing my shorts. If you haven't viewed any of my shorts, please check them out. I'm getting better and better with them every day. If you haven't watched any of my videos and you have a rainy day or a hot day where you can't go out, please, set my videos up and ask me questions. I tend to go back to my videos often as I can to see if there's any new comments. Or you can hit me up on IG and ask me a question. If you're baking something that you saw that I was doing, let me know if you have a question about it. I'd be more than happy to help you. Oh, Candy Mama, that's no doubt. Yeah. I mean, if it was a thrift shop, I'd pay $25 for it. So yeah, Nick, you're right. Gosh, Nick. So Nick was right. So we had 2 right answers today. So Nick, I think I'll be seeing you soon. So, I'm reaching for something over here. Look. There he is. Just a little dash. Well, this is just a little dash. Well, wow. This was really cool. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. Like I said, Nick, Pete McDevitt, go over to Pete's channel at 10 o'clock. He'll be on. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for supporting the channel. Candy Mom, always thank you for being there. It's what we do in anything that we do. We work hard at it, hard at our jobs, hard, taking care of our families, hard, trying just to be friends for people. And there's a recipe that goes with that. Lots of fluids, to staying hydrated, getting rest, eating healthy, or trying to eat healthy or drink healthy. Monster is not a I forgot the word. Is not a sponsor. And again, there's a lot of things that go into a recipe to make the perfect dish. So do your best at whatever you do. And like John Prine said, if you're walking by and you see someone standing there that has hollow ancient eyes, say hello in there. Say hello to that person. We mostly walk up to people and we go, "How you doing?" When was the last time somebody said, "Terrible"? But when they do, take a couple minutes to listen. Maybe you can help them out. That's why we're all here. I appreciate you guys being here. I like having fun. I haven't done a live in a long time, and I'm just glad you were here. And just remember what you saw early on. There you go. And actually, this has a little switch at the top, and the next time it lights up. It lights up. So we'll have light up lights next time. And we're going to talk about, remember what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about food and wine and all the desserts. And I'm going to start going to the parks. I'm going to start getting some of the desserts and doing reviews on them. And then we're going to be doing, maybe we'll do live reviews when I come back on Sundays at 8 o'clock. Again, I'll put some surveys out there. You guys answer them and let me know. I am Chris, the Disney Baker. I appreciate you. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and I do YouTube, and I do Whatnot. So when I'm live on Whatnot, it automatically links up to my YouTube. So if you'd like to come in, check out the information that Katie put up. Katie, thank you so much. Katie's been amazing. With all that and all my moderators, thank you very much. Jonathan Chong, it's good to see you. I like Devo. Yes, Devo glasses. Wait till you see him with batteries in them. Take those little tiny round batteries. But I am the Disney Baker, and this is my layer, the Disney layer. So we're gonna start hopefully baking on Saturdays, and then I'll still be able to do this on Sunday evenings. So TTFN, ta-ta for now.